Hello all, my name is Pouria. I'm going to present my research project, which is titled The Relationship Between the Amount of Fruit and Vegetable Intake and Blood Pressure in Adults Using the NHM. High blood pressure or hypertension is diagnosed when the systolic blood pressure is 130 millimeter over 80 millimeter of diastolic blood pressure. Hypertension is considered one of the pivotal risk factors for cardiovascular diseases. According to data from the World Health Organization in 2014, the prevalence of hypertension was nearly 22% worldwide. It is estimated that this number will reach 29.2% in 2025 without intervention. Specifically, the dietary approach to stop hypertension diet, a non pharmacological approach recommends following a daily eating plan of 2 servings of low-fat dairy products, 7 servings of carbohydrates, 5 servings of fruits, and 5 servings of vegetables. 2 or less servings of lean red meat, and 2 or 3 servings of nuts and seeds per week. Hypertension affects nearly 75% of US adults aged 65 or older. Hypertension and its associated complications can be controlled or prevented through medical care and lifestyle interventions, including physical activity and diet. For example, increasing fruit and vegetable consumption. This study aims to investigate the effects of fruit and vegetable intake in cup equivalents on systolic blood pressure among adults aged 20 or older. We hypothesize that there is a significant inverse association between fruit intake and blood pressure. Moreover, we hypothesize that there is a similar relationship between vegetable intake and blood pressure as well. Uh, this is the summary of the method section. A cross-sectional design was used, and the databases were NHM and FPED. The outcome variable was systolic blood pressure. The predictors variables included total fruit intake and total vegetable intake. The main covariates included age, sex, race, education level, and marital status. For the analysis section, SPSS version 28 was applied, and the multiple linear regression model was used. So, for the research design, a cross-sectional design was applied in the present study. Data were obtained from the National Health and Examination Survey, or NHANES, and the corresponding food patterns equivalence database, or FPED. For this study, the cycle 2017 to 2018 was used for the analysis. The NHANES is a national survey with the aim of evaluating the health and nutritional status of adults and children in the United States. This study used dietary intake information from the FPED and merged it with the enhanced records. The enhanced uses several questionnaires, including demographics, for example, age at the time of the screening, sex, marital status, race or ethnicity, and education. Other questionnaires included 24-hour dietary recall or food recall and examinations such as blood pressure measurements. For the measures, the outcome variable for the credit study is systolic blood pressure, which is assessed in the physical examination. Regarding predictor variables, the 24-hour food recall data file was used in order to extract information on vegetable and fruit intake in cup equivalents. Moreover, the current study has several covariates, including age, sex, and race. These covariate variables were collected by using a questionnaire. Age was reported in years, Sex was reported as either female or male. A series of dichotomous variables were generated for ethnic or racial categories, including non-Hispanic white, non-Hispanic black, Hispanic, and other races. Regarding data sample and collection, the sample for the present study consisted of free living adults aged 20 or older who participated in ENHANCE 2017 to 2018. The cycle of ENHANCE included almost 9,000 individuals. After excluding the participants who had missing information on key demographics and those who didn't complete the first day 24-hour dietary recall, a total of 4,281 unique participants entered the final analysis, including 2,103 men and 2,728 women. This flowchart shows the sample selection process, which shows the exclusion criteria and inclusion criteria. After excluding the observations who did not have information on blood pressure, or the observations who didn't complete the 24-hour dietary recall, overall 4,281 individuals entered into the final analysis. All the statistical analyses were performed using SPSS version 28. To estimate the effects of total fruit and vegetable intake on blood pressure, a multiple linear regression model was used. For continuous variables, descriptive measures were calculated and reported as mean and standard deviation. And regarding categorical variables, the data were reported as frequency or percentage. In order to assess for linear relationships among control variables, tests for multicollinearity were applied. A p-value of 0.05 or less was considered statistically significant. Overall, 4,281 participants entered the final analysis. Of these respondents, 50.8% were women, 36% of the participants were non-Hispanic white. Regarding education level, almost 57% of them had high school or some college degree. 59.6% of the respondents were married or living with a partner. The mean total fruit intake and total vegetable intake were 0.943 and 1.500 cup equivalents, respectively. This table shows the descriptive statistics. As you can see, data are reported as means and standard deviations for continuous variables, and frequency or percentage for categorical variables. According to the Dubin-Watson test, which was 1.986, we do not have a collinearity issue. In this study, a multiple regression model was used to examine whether total fruit and vegetable intake predict respondents' systolic blood pressure. The findings demonstrated that the model could explain 25.3% of the variance, and a significant regression model was found, which means that this model can significantly predict respondents' systolic blood pressure. And this table indicates the multiple linear regression model. The table is reported as B coefficient, standard error, and beta and t statistics, and a p-value of 0.05 was considered statistically significant. The participants' age, gender, race, marital status, and education level significantly contributed to the model since the p-value of these variables were less than 0.05 according to the table I showed you before on the previous slide. I mean, among the predictor variables, only total fruit intake significantly predicts systolic blood pressure, which was minus 0.526 with a p-value of 0.004, and the negative coefficient here indicates an inverse relationship between total fruit intake and systolic blood pressure, meaning that whenever a person consumes more fruits, has less systolic blood pressure level. Although total vegetable intake was negatively associated with systolic blood pressure, the finding was not statistically significant. As a conclusion, based on the results, the hypothesis regarding total fruit intake was supported. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, just you can send an email to me. Thank you.